You know that feeling. You're in a deep, peaceful sleep, the kind you really look forward to all day. And then, suddenly, your eyes just snap open. You check the clock, and there it is again. 2:17 a.m. Or maybe it's 3:05 a.m. Whatever the exact time. It feels like the middle of the night, and you're wide awake. Your mind starts buzzing, or maybe you just lie there, frustrated, counting the hours until your alarm goes off. This isn't just an occasional annoying night for many of us, especially as we get a little older. It becomes a regular, unwelcome visitor. That frustrating pattern of waking up in the wee hours, feeling unable to drift back off. It doesn't just make you tired the next day. It can impact your mood, your energy, even your memory. You start wondering if this is just how it is now, a normal part of getting older. But what if it's not just getting old? What if that 2 a.m. wake-up call is your body's way of trying to tell you something important? There are often specific, understandable reasons behind this frustrating pattern, and thankfully, there are things you can do about them. In this video, we're going to explore some of the surprising reasons why you might be waking up like clockwork in the middle of the night. And we'll look at simple, practical steps you can take to help yourself sleep through until morning. Stick with me right to the very end, because some of the reasons and solutions might truly surprise you. Let's dive straight into some of the most common culprits behind that unwelcome 2 a.m. wake-up call. One of the biggest, and often overlooked, factors, especially as we age, can be related to how our bodies handle glucose, or blood sugar. Think about what you ate and drank, particularly in the hours before bed. Maybe you had a sweet treat after dinner, or a larger meal late in the evening. When you eat, especially carbohydrates and sugars, your blood sugar goes up. Your body produces insulin to bring it back down. For many of us, as we get older, this process can become a little less efficient. If you have a peak in blood sugar from a late snack, your body might overcompensate and dip too low a few hours later while you're asleep. This dip in blood sugar can trigger your body's stress response, releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which are designed to wake you up and signal that you need to fuel up. And suddenly, you're wide awake at 2 a.m., feeling perhaps a little shaky or anxious without even knowing why. It's not just sweets. Even a large, heavy meal too close to bedtime can cause digestive processes that interfere with sleep or lead to discomfort that rouses you. What can you do about this? It's not about going to bed hungry, but it is about being mindful of timing and what you eat in the late evening. Try to finish eating your evening meal at least 2 to 3 hours before you plan to go to bed. If you absolutely need a snack, make it something small, easily digestible, and balanced. Think a small handful of nuts, a few slices of apple with a tiny bit of cheese, or some plain yogurt, something that combines a little protein and healthy fat with maybe a small amount of complex carbohydrate. These types of snacks are less likely to cause a rapid spike and then crash in your blood sugar. Paying attention to this could make a surprisingly big difference in whether you stay asleep through the night. Another frequent disturber of sleep in the middle of the night is temperature. As we age, our ability to regulate our body temperature can change. You might find you're more sensitive to being too hot or too cold during the night. Our bedrooms need to be cool, but not freezing. Think Goldilocks, just right. If your room is too warm, you might find yourself kicking off the covers, feeling restless, and waking up. If it's too cold, your body might work harder to stay warm, which can also disrupt sleep cycles and lead to waking up. Synthetic fabrics, heavy duvets, or even just the natural fluctuations in temperature throughout the night can be enough to pull you out of deeper sleep. Making your bedroom a sleep sanctuary with the right temperature is crucial. Most sleep experts agree that a slightly cool room is best for sleep, somewhere between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, about 15-19 degrees Celsius. Experiment to find what feels most comfortable for you. Consider using layers on your bed that you can easily adjust. A lighter duvet with an extra blanket folded at the bottom, or multiple thinner blankets instead of one heavy one. Look at your sleepwear. Natural fibers like cotton or bamboo can be more breathable and help regulate temperature better than synthetic materials. Keeping a window slightly ajar for fresh air can also help, provided it's safe and quiet outside. Simply addressing the temperature of your sleep environment can eliminate a really common reason for that 2 a.m. wake-up. It sounds simple, but discomfort from being too hot or cold is a major sleep disruptor that we often just put up with. Making a conscious effort to get your sleep environment temperature just right is a powerful, actionable step. Beyond blood sugar and temperature, let's talk about hydration, specifically. What you're drinking and when. We all know it's important to stay hydrated, but timing really matters when it comes to sleep. Drinking a lot of fluids, especially in the hour or two before bed, is a surefire way to guarantee a trip to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And once you're awake to go to the bathroom, it can be really hard to fall back asleep. Can't it? This becomes even more pertinent as we get older because changes in kidney function and bladder capacity can mean we need to urinate more frequently, especially at night. The key here is finding the right balance. You don't want to become dehydrated, as that can also negatively impact sleep. The goal is to front-load your hydration earlier in the day. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the morning and afternoon. Then, start tapering off your fluid intake as the evening approaches. Try to limit drinking anything substantial, especially water, in the 2 hours before you plan to go to sleep. This gives your body time to process the fluids before you settle down for the night, hopefully reducing the need for those middle-of-the-night bathroom trips. Of course, if you need to take medication with water before bed, do so, but be mindful of unnecessary extra sips. Now, let's move beyond just the basics of food, temperature, and fluids, and look at some other significant factors that might be contributing to your regular 2 a.m. wake-up calls. One that's incredibly common, yet often brushed aside, is the effect of everyday stress and anxiety. Our minds don't just shut off when our heads hit the pillow. If you've been worried about something during the day, perhaps finances, family matters, or even just your to-do list, those thoughts can linger. During the early part of the night, you might be in deeper sleep, but as you transition into lighter stages around that 2 to 3 a.m. mark, those underlying worries can bubble to the surface, jolting you awake. It's like your brain finally gets a quiet moment and decides it's the perfect time to review every single concern you have. And once you're awake and thinking about them, the stress hormones start to flow, making it even harder to relax and fall back asleep. It's a vicious cycle. Learning to manage stress before bed is vital. This isn't about eliminating all stress from your life. That's unrealistic, but about finding ways to process it or set it aside before you try to sleep. Try incorporating a calming ritual into your evening routine. This could be reading a physical book, avoiding screens, listening to quiet music, taking a warm bath with some Epsom salts, or practicing some gentle stretching or yoga. Some people find journaling helpful. Writing down your worries or your thoughts for the day can help get them out of your head and onto paper, so they don't feel like they're swirling around internally. Even 5 or 10 minutes dedicated to deliberately winding down can make a huge difference. Another simple technique is deep breathing. If you wake up feeling anxious, instead of immediately engaging with the thoughts, try focusing on slow, deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold for a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this gently, focusing only on the sensation of your breath. This can help activate your body's relaxation response and quiet that buzzing mind. It takes practice, but it's a powerful tool. Let's also consider something that affects many of us: our medications. As we age, it's common to be taking 1 or more prescription medications, and while they are essential for our health, some can unfortunately interfere with sleep patterns. Certain heart medications, blood pressure drugs, corticosteroids, and even some antidepressants or pain relievers can cause insomnia or disrupt sleep cycles, leading to midnight awakenings. The timing of when you take your medication can also play a role. For instance, If you take a diuretic or water pill too late in the day, it's almost guaranteed to have you up multiple times during the night needing the bathroom. If you suspect your medication might be affecting your sleep, please do not stop taking it on your own. Instead, make an appointment to talk to your doctor or pharmacist. They are the best resource for understanding potential side effects. They might be able to adjust the dosage, suggest taking it at a different time of day, or even recommend an alternative medication that is less likely to impact your sleep. Sometimes, a simple timing adjustment is all it takes to resolve the issue. It's a conversation well worth having if you think this might be a factor in your 2 a.m. awakenings. Another physical issue that can be a nocturnal nuisance is restless leg syndrome or periodic limb movement disorder. This involves uncomfortable sensations in the legs like creeping, crawling, or itching that create an irresistible urge to move them, particularly when you're resting or trying to sleep. These sensations often get worse in the evening and can wake you up from sleep or make it difficult to fall back asleep if you've woken for another reason. Similarly, periodic limb movements are involuntary jerking or kicking movements of the legs during sleep, which you may not even be aware of, but they can still disrupt your sleep cycle and lead to waking up. If you suspect restless legs or periodic limb movements, talk to your doctor. There are medical treatments and lifestyle changes that can help manage these conditions. Sometimes, it's linked to iron deficiency, and supplementing can help. Avoiding caffeine and alcohol in the evening might also reduce symptoms. Gentle stretching or massage before bed could offer some relief. For some people, warm baths or applying heat or cold packs to the legs can help calm the sensations. It's worth investigating this if you notice unusual sensations or movements in your legs at night. Beyond the physical and mental aspects we've discussed, let's think about another very common reason for waking up, especially around that 2 a.m. mark, simply needing to use the bathroom. Nocturia, which is the medical term for waking up during the night because you need to urinate, becomes more prevalent as we age. As mentioned earlier with fluid intake, changes in kidney function can mean less concentrated urine at night, and our bladders can become less elastic, holding less volume. Plus, conditions like an enlarged prostate in men or pelvic floor changes in women can contribute. While limiting fluids before bed is the first step, there are other strategies. Try a timed void before going to sleep. Empty your bladder right before you get into bed, even if you don't feel a strong urge. This ensures you're starting the night with an empty bladder. Some people find that elevating their legs for a while in the evening helps reduce fluid retention in the lower limbs, which can decrease the amount of fluid needing to be processed and eliminated during the night. Again, if this is a persistent and significant problem, it's worth discussing with your doctor. They can check for underlying causes like urinary tract infections, diabetes, or other conditions that might be contributing to frequent nighttime urination. They might also suggest specific exercises or treatments. Getting up in the night is disruptive not just because of the trip to the bathroom itself, but because the act of getting out of bed and turning on lights fully wakes up your brain, making it harder to return to sleep. So, reducing the need to go is a key strategy. Now, let's consider something that's becoming increasingly common in our modern world: the impact of blue light exposure in the evening. Our bodies have an internal clock, called the circadian rhythm, which tells us when to be awake and when to sleep. This rhythm is strongly influenced by light, exposure to light, especially blue light from electronic screens like phones, tablets, computers, and even bright LED lights. In the hours leading up to bedtime, can suppress the production of melatonin, the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to wind down and sleep. If your melatonin production is disrupted, it can make it harder to fall asleep initially, but it can also affect the quality and depth of your sleep throughout the night, potentially leading to those early morning awakenings. Making your evenings a tech-free zone is one of the best things you can do for your sleep. Try to avoid screens for at least an hour, ideally 2 hours, before you go to bed. Instead of scrolling through social media or watching TV, read a book, listen to a podcast or music. do a puzzle, or chat with a loved one. If you absolutely must use a screen in the evening, try enabling the night mode or blue light filter on your device, which shifts the light towards warmer tones. You can also get blue light blocking glasses to wear in the evening. And think about the lighting in your home. Dimming lights and using warmer, lower wattage bulbs in the rooms you use before bed can help create a more sleep-friendly environment. Our ancestors didn't have bright lights or screens after dark, and their sleep-wake cycles were much more aligned with natural light. While we can't live exactly like that, we can take steps to mimic some of those conditions to support our natural sleep rhythm. This simple change to your evening routine can have profound effects on your ability to stay asleep. Finally, let's touch on what you drink in the evening beyond just water. Alcohol and caffeine are notorious sleep disruptors. While a glass of wine or a cup of tea might feel relaxing in the evening, their effects on sleep are often detrimental. Caffeine, of course, is a stimulant and can stay in your system for many hours. Drinking coffee or even certain teas too late in the afternoon or evening can make it hard to fall asleep and can definitely contribute to waking up in the middle of the night, feeling wired. Alcohol, on the other hand, might initially make you feel drowsy and help you fall asleep faster. However, as your body processes the alcohol later in the night, it disrupts the deeper, more restorative stages of sleep, REM sleep. This often leads to fragmented sleep and waking up in the early hours when the effects wear off, often feeling more alert and finding it difficult to get back to sleep. The advice here is straightforward. Though not always easy to follow, be mindful of your caffeine and alcohol intake, especially in the latter half of the day. Try switching to decaffeinated beverages after lunch. Limit alcohol in the evenings. Or, ideally, avoid it altogether if you're struggling with nighttime awakenings. If you do choose to have a drink, try to have it earlier in the evening and limit the amount. Finding non-alcoholic, non-caffeinated ways to relax and unwind in the evening, like herbal teas, chamomile, valerian, warm milk, or simply water, is a much better strategy for supporting continuous sleep. These changes might seem small on their own, but combined, they can make a world of difference in helping you stay asleep through the night. We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring the potential reasons why you might be waking up night after night around 2 a.m. We talked about how late-night snacks and blood sugar fluctuations can play a role, the importance of getting your bedroom temperature just right, and how timing your fluid intake is crucial to avoid those disruptive trips to the bathroom. We also delved into the impact of stress and anxiety, how certain medications might be affecting your sleep, and how conditions like restless leg syndrome can contribute. And we looked at the effects of blue light exposure and evening consumption of caffeine and alcohol. It's easy to feel discouraged when you're not getting a full night's sleep. The constant cycle of waking up tired can feel overwhelming. But remember, waking up at 2 a.m. isn't just an inevitable part of getting older. It's often your body responding to a combination of factors, many of which we've discussed. The good news is that you have the power to make changes. You don't need to tackle everything at once. Pick one or two things that resonated with you the most from what we've talked about today, and start there. Maybe it's adjusting the time you finish eating, being more mindful of your evening drinks, or dedicating 10 minutes to winding down without screens before bed. Small, consistent steps really can lead to big improvements in your sleep over time. Be patient with yourself. Finding what works best for you might take a little experimentation. And if these issues persist, or if you have concerns about potential underlying medical conditions like sleep apnea or medication side effects, please do talk to your doctor. They can provide personalized advice and rule out anything more serious. Your sleep is incredibly important for your overall health, energy, and happiness. Taking these steps is an investment in feeling better, more rested, and more present in your daily life. You deserve to sleep soundly through the night. What's been your biggest challenge with sleep lately? Or have you tried any of the things we discussed today? And did they help? Sharing your experiences in the comments below helps others in this community know they aren't alone, and might give someone else an idea they hadn't thought of. If you found this video helpful and informative, please give it a thumbs up. That tells me I'm creating content you find valuable. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos dedicated to helping you live your best, most vibrant life at every age. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. Remember, better sleep is possible. Keep taking those steps and keep living your best life.